Hey everyone, welcome to the RotoGrinders Morning Grind podcast. I'm your host, Stevietpfl. It is Thursday. It's February 29th. That's not a typo. It is that leap year. What's up, everyone? Hope you're having a fantastic Wednesday night over there on YouTube, and I hope you have a fantastic Thursday afternoon on the podcast feed. What's up, Tim? Joined today by my good buddy TastefulTides, Timothy Buell. We got man, it's been a long day. I'm not even going to sit here and act like it hasn't been a long day. You know, RotoGrinders 2.0 launched today, and it's just been a long day. A lot of stuff we're working on, and I had a lot of stuff I was working on with the NASCAR stuff to make sure we're good for this weekend. But I'm pumped. The site is so much faster. The rebranding looks fantastic. The website looks fantastic. And I mean, just the site for users, for you all that use the site each and every day. And I mean, we use it as well. It's just going to be so much better in the long run. And I'm pumped about that. But Tim, how's it going for you, my friend?
Yeah, RG 2.0 is pretty awesome. It's so much slicker, so much faster. I think the user experience is going to be so much better. Definitely, it's going to take a little bit of getting used to for me, right? Using the same site for the last 6 or 7 years straight, but I'm pretty excited to dig into the 2.0.
Yeah, and again, I feel like for listeners and users of the website, you're going to very much like it. I think that you're going to like just how much faster it runs, and there'll be some bugs over the next week or so. We've been working behind the scenes on it now for a few weeks, and I know that the team in general has been working on this for almost a year. This has been something in the process for a year now, and you're going to see a lot of different stuff, but the site's just going to be better. You'll get used to it. It's going to take some getting used to for a lot of people, but overall, it's going to be better for you in the long run, and that's all that matters, right? All right. 6-game slate. I mean, that seems to be like the thing this week. And I'm not complaining. I love 6-game slates are something I really like. And I like the fact that we have a 6-game slate with 0 teams on a back-to-back. I don't know if I've been able to say that much of all this season. So all that outdated gear on sale. Richie wants to know.
I'm pretty excited. I want it. If they can send it to me, I'll take it. It.
I probably have like 40 RotoGrinder shirts in my closet. And I still have my like original 10 plus years old RG shirt. I don't ever wear it anymore, but it's still in the closet. But I don't know.
It took me 4 years to get two sweatshirts. So I'll take all the gear that I can get.
There you go. I will say, though, I'm sure you all have like noticed us wearing and rocking some new RG gear and wondering what that was all about. Well, the secret's out. And yeah, there we go. The new site, new colors, and new backgrounds. I got a new background. The Morning Grind up here has a new background. There'll be like new images for the Morning Grind when you click on it on the website tomorrow. So yeah, just new, different, and nothing's changing as far as content. We're going to keep rocking it. And I say nothing's changing. We do have some stuff in the works for MLB, like live shows that are going to change from like last year. So I'm excited for that. But blue background, like my red Hattie B's hat, does not work well with the blue background. So
I think you look sharp, Stevie. I don't know what you're talking about. I think that red and blue looks good.
Bags under my.
Well, that's different. I didn't say anything about that, but
oh yeah, they're not going anywhere. NASCAR season's back. All right, let's talk some hoops. We got it, like I said, a 6-game slate. We have 0 teams on a back-to-back. We have lines out for all these games, and we should have a lot of fun with this one. So we get started here. Milwaukee at Charlotte, 217.5. Milwaukee is a 12-point favorite. Middleton's out. And then on the Charlotte side, Ball and Williams is out. We just had this game. And we sat here on the podcast and talked about how Charlotte's just been playing better defensively. And this game could potentially be close because of how Charlotte's been playing better defensively. Milwaukee won by 38 points. It wasn't even close. So, obviously this game now going to Charlotte, both of these teams have been playing better defensively just in general. Any interest here in the Bucks going up against Charlotte?
Yeah, I mean, I think we have to have some interest on a shorter slate such as this. Like you said, it's going to be in Charlotte, so hopefully, maybe, possibly, they can keep this game a little bit closer. Giannis at 11-3 seems to be too cheap. He's not going to be. I don't think he's going to be overwhelmingly chalky. I think people might look at that last game and be like, "Oh, I'm too worried about the blowout." So if there's not going to be a lot of ownership on him, I absolutely love him. But I think my favorite play from this team is Dame at 8,800. I really like to get to Dame. Get some savings from Giannis. You still get exposure to one of the worst defenses in basketball. So I really like Lillard. He put up what did he put up? Put up 20. He played 25 minutes and scored 23 points in this last game. So if he can extend this to like 33 minutes, 34 minutes, I think he can really, really smash his price tag.
Yeah, I think overall, like when you're looking at the Bucks game from the other day, you're just like, all right, the game was way out of hand and no one got their full amount of minutes and production was way down just in general. I mean, I think Brook Lopez had 0 actual points and took like 2 shot attempts in that game. So I think you could kind of throw that game out and just say, Lillard, Giannis, obviously top end plays. We've talked a lot about how much Doc Rivers really likes Beasley and Portis. These guys have a really good role with this team right now with Doc Rivers at coach. I think that's where I'd be targeting this team just in general here. And then on the Charlotte side, I mean, my thoughts really haven't changed, right? Trey Mann just keeps playing really solid. Even in the blowout the other night, like they didn't take him off the court. He played 33 minutes. So we kind of learned that like Trey Mann's blowout proof the other night, which was fantastic. So he would be my favorite option.
Yeah.
But go ahead.
Yeah, definitely. No, I was going to say, you literally took the words right out of my mouth about Charlotte. I was like, it's Trey Mann, and that's just about it. Like he's blowout proof. He's 5,400. He's going to play over 30 minutes. If this game stays close, like we know Dame struggles on the defensive end of the court. So, I mean, he could have a monster, like 40 DK point game. And like you said, he's blowout proof. So he's by far my favorite Charlotte play, by far.
Yeah, and Miller, like, we need the price to keep coming down because like Miller was out there still shooting a lot the other night when the game was out of hand, which was great, but his price is still kind of right. And I mean, gosh, like we want Miller to have like 1 or 2 more bad games, get down in that like $5,800 range and really be able to take advantage of it. I thought like we'd see Mitchich play more the other night in kind of a blowout type game. And
me too.
Just kind of disappeared. I think overall for me on Charlotte, it's Mann and it's Miller. And then if you think the game is going to stay close, I think you could potentially take shots on Bridges, but he's not my favorite. I think that, you're getting good production from Mann, and Grant Williams is just not producing points. He's getting rebounds and some stuff like that, but yeah, just not really getting there.
Yeah, no, I mean, I don't have a whole lot of interest in Charlotte outside of Mann.
All right, we got Utah at Orlando, facing my Magic, 221 total here. Orlando, a 5-point favorite. Kessler is questionable for Utah. Banchero and Isaac questionable for Orlando. Isaac, I think, is probably more on the doubtful side. I think they'll be very careful with his ankle injury. And then I think overall, Banchero with the illness, we'll just kind of have to see how the day goes. If he's at shoot around in the morning, he'll probably play in this one. Kessler being questionable is huge. We'll definitely be paying attention to another foot sprain for Kessler. He missed some time. I mean, let's talk about the Utah situation first here. I think, obviously, like I keep talking about how much I like Keontae George. We're going to get a night where Keontae George shoots well, but just, man, like Hendricks is playing quite a bit now. And like if Kessler sits, I mean, I think that Hendricks is a phenomenal play.
Yep.
Do we think like Yurt 7 starts here if Kessler misses the game, or do you think it's Potter, or do we think like maybe they start? I don't think they'll be able to start Hendricks and Collins together.
No, I agree with that. I don't think it's gonna be Hendricks, Collins, one of them playing the 5. I would assume it's Yurtseven, but I'm not 100%. Let me. Yeah, I would say it's Yurtseven.
Yeah, I mean, they could potentially start Collins against like Wendell Carter. Potentially.
Yeah.
I think that, I mean, maybe Hendricks and Collins starts. That's who they start anyway, right? Kessler doesn't typically start. So, I mean, Hendricks has been starting here recently. So, I mean, maybe nothing really changes as far as that. Maybe we get minutes off the bench for someone like Yurtseven. I mean, if Kessler sits, I really like Hendricks. I think that he's getting 30 plus minutes here. I don't necessarily love Utah in this matchup. Orlando's a great defense. I've been playing a lot of George, and I think I'll put George on the bench here. But I think Taylor Hendricks is a phenomenal play. With or without Kessler, I think he's a solid value play today.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. He is a very, very strong value play. If Kessler were to miss, he would, definitely jump up in projections. I mean, I know it's a bad matchup, but I mean, I think Lauri Markkanen's way too cheap. Like, especially if Boncharo doesn't play. Like, I definitely would get to some Lauri in large field GPPs. I think he could really, really, really crush that price tag. So I do have some interest in Lauri Markkanen at 7,700. I don't really want any Colin Sexton or Keontae George for this matchup anyway. Even though I think they're pretty solid players, but I think it's Hendricks and I think it's Markkanen for me on the Utah side.
Yeah, I mean, Markkanen is always a guy that has upside. I don't love the matchup. But like you said, if Banchero sits, if Isaac's a phenomenal defender.
Right. Yeah. If they both were to sit, that's a pretty big void on the defensive side.
Yeah, I mean, Goga and Wendell Carter are also good defenders. So I mean, it's just Franz isn't a good defender. Like, I mean, Magic, that's why they're good defensively, right? They're just good overall defensively. So let's talk about the Magic here. We just saw the Magic the other night absolutely crush. I think they beat Brooklyn by 26 or 27 points in that game. And we saw, no Banchero didn't really matter too much. They didn't have to play their guys deep into the game. Franz Wagner didn't check back in after the third quarter. So his minutes were kind of down. They did not check Wendell Carter back in. Wendell Carter is going to be, they're going to be very careful with his minutes when they can be, because they want him to stay healthy.
Mm-hmm.
I think if Banchero sits again, Wendell Carter, I think this game has a much more higher potential to stay close. Brooklyn was on a back-to-back. They just looked terrible the other night. I think this game stays closer. So if Banchero sits, I think Banchero plays for what it's worth. But if he does sit, I think Franz and Wendell Carter would be top-end plays. And I think we can't overlook Caleb Houston if Banchero sits, just because he has a pretty nice upside minutes wise, and he doesn't come out in a blowout, so if this game does get out of hand, I think we could take some shots here on Caleb Houston.
Yeah, I definitely like the Caleb Houston call. What are we doing with Markelle Fultz at 4K, Stevie? Is that just you can't play him? That seems so cheap. He played 25 minutes in a blowout against Brooklyn. And you know what I mean? What if he gets 27, 28?
It was very interesting. He played the blowout minutes though. They've been easing him back and careful with him just in general. And I mean, I don't know. There's so much guard action going on with the Magic right now between Harris and Suggs and Cole Anthony and Fultz, and we have Anthony Black. There's too many of them.
That's true. That is a good point. Many of them.
Yeah,
that's a good point. I just see Marquez Fultz at 4K, and I'm I feel like I should be playing him. Getting 25 plus minutes. So I don't know. It just feels weird. But yeah, I love Wendell Carter in this matchup at 5,400. If Banchero were not to play, I love going back to Franz Wagner at 76. But yeah, I don't know. I don't want to play a chalky Caleb Houston, and I'm worried he's going to be chalky considering he did pretty well in his last game. He played 30 minutes. I don't know if I want to play him if he's going to be chalk, but if he's not going to be chalk and he's starting again, I would have no problem going back.
Yeah, it could potentially, especially in large field tournaments, like could be just one of those guys you just stay away from. But I think you are typically a person that loves playing like single entry stuff, and I think that like if he's chalky in single entry, you can easily stay away.
I'm not playing him in single entry if he's going to be popular.
Derek says, "Man, I'm glad I locked Drummond tonight." He has 22.
I told him to.
We talked about it on the podcast last night before it was a cool thing. So there you go. My boy AU, he's having a decent game too. All right, Atlanta at Brooklyn, 227.5 total here. Brooklyn 2-point favorite. Okongwu and Young out for Atlanta. Thomas out for Brooklyn. Let's talk about Atlanta first. DeJounte kind of disappointed the other night. You know, he was 8,900. It was a matchup against Utah. We love the pace of that game. The pace ended up playing really fast in that game. It just, and now like we're getting DeJounte $500 more. And like now we're getting at the point where it's really tough to say he's a plug and play, even with Trae Young out. I still think DeAndre Hunter is phenomenal play here. Like he's just a guy that scores so much more with Trae Young off the floor. We saw Capella get a decent amount of run the other night. He played 25 minutes. It was the first time since like coming back right there before the All-Star break. I mean, yeah, I just overall Johnson's price is up there. Murray's price is up there.
I love Johnson in this matchup.
Yeah, I like Johnson.
I know he's expensive.
81's a tough. I mean, but he goes for 50 plus. I mean, on a 6-game slate, raw points still matter, so he could be okay.
Yeah, I certainly agree with you. DeJounte is no longer a plug and play. They priced him appropriately, correctly. This is a big time pace down matchup for Atlanta. So I do not think that you have to play Murray. But I think getting to like Bogdanovich maybe or Hunter, I love that Hunter call, or even Sadiq Bey at 5,600, I think is interesting. But Johnson is definitely my favorite Atlanta play.
He's phenomenal, right? Just a guy that produces each and every night, and his rebounds have been fantastic. They're going to be fantastic. And yeah, I mean, I get it. I understand why you like him. Like you said, the pace down spot worries me a little bit. Brooklyn's 23 in pace and 23rd in pace, and Atlanta's 3rd in pace. So like you are a little concerned about like the pace down spot. But on the flip side, you're like, all right, well, I mean, it's a spot we could take advantage of, you know. So
they're still, they're still shorthanded, right? They still have no Young, they still have no Okongwu. You know, we know who's going to be playing, so I kind of like them for that reason.
Yeah, and like the usage is there, right? Like we can kind of pinpoint where the usage is going to be with Atlanta. You know, that game against Utah kind of got out of hand, and like they still ran their guys out there. Like Johnson still closed the game, and you know they didn't. And like I was sweating DeAndre Hunter's like points, and he finally hit it, and I was like, all right, good.
I feel very secure. I feel very secure if I collect an Atlanta player in this game that they're gonna play their full minutes.
Yeah, I don't know. Like Bogdanovich, like his ceiling is kind of capped. He's probably going to get you 28 to 40 in this spot. I don't know if that's enough at 6,400, but like if you end up in this price range and you end up on him, like I'm not going to tell you don't do it. So and you know with Trae out, DeJounte had to play like longer stints, and when DeJounte is playing those longer stints, that's why Hunter scores more, is because he's getting more usage on that second unit with Trae out and DeJounte playing with the first unit longer. So we saw Jalen Johnson kind of play the Trae Young check out early type role and try to play with that second unit a little bit more, but just going to open up more opportunities for DeAndre Hunter just in general. So DeAndre Hunter probably gets 30 minutes if that game stays close the other night. And I think at 30 minutes at 5,500, that's fine.
Yep.
Brooklyn. no Cam Thomas. He'll be out here with the ankle that we talked about the other day. We have Ben Simmons returning here. He's not playing a ton of minutes yet. I think this is a spot. Dennis Schroeder played okay, but not great the other night. I think we can potentially go back to taking shots on Schroeder. I just everybody for Brooklyn against the Orlando Magic played terrible. And this is it's the opposite matchup, right? It's a fast-paced spot with little defense. Orlando plays slow and they play great defense. So I think you kind of hope that people are a little gun shy on Brooklyn here.
They're so cheap, Stevie. I mean, they're so cheap. If I was making 20 teams on Thursday's slate, I'd be doing a mid one of Brooklyn, 100%. They're so cheap. They're good, Claxton at 64, Bridges at 7K, Cam Johnson even 4,900. Ben Simmons, he's point guard only, which kind of stinks, but 5,100. I think that's okay. Dennis Schroeder, he's got shooting guard eligibility at 52. I think that's a very strong play as well. So I mean, I would be mixing and matching Brooklyn, right? I don't have some lock play, but they're in a great spot, like you said.
All right, Josh, I hear you that the Hawks defense is better without Trey, but let's pump the brakes on calling them a good defense. They're going to be better without Trae Young. Trae Young's not a good defender. But let's tap those brakes. We got to make those left-hand turns, So I think, they're going to be better defensively, but the pace that Atlanta plays at is such a huge bump for Brooklyn in general that it's going to open up so much more, just so much more shot attempts, so much more plays, everything. So the fact that, Tim pointed out, the pricing for Brooklyn is that's the juicy part here for this team in DFS. He said the Hawks is this squad. He feels us. I mean, listen, we are all there, right? We all have our teams. I mean, look at Keith. He's a Cubs fan. He knows pain. So, I mean,
what would you do with Ben Simmons if you were making 20 teams for Thursday?
I think I'd take shots on him, hoping that they extend him to 22 minutes here. The first game back from the All-Star break, he played 21 minutes. I think with Thomas out, you could potentially hope to get Simmons extended to 22 to 24 minutes here. Yeah, 22 to 24 minutes for 5,100 Ben Simmons is his ceiling's probably 8, 12 in that scenario. So I think at 5,100, you could take I would see what ownership is before I would give you a complete idea of how much I want to play him. But if Ben Simmons is projected for 4% ownership and I'm playing a 20 entry max, I probably try to get him on 3 or 4 teams. So 15, 20%.
Yeah. I feel that way too about Cam Johnson also. I really like Cam Johnson.
I like your idea of going in lineup HQ and min wanting Brooklyn's cheap plays, right? I'm going to have one of Schroeder, Simmons, Johnson, Smith, Claxton. And I'm going to make sure in this matchup, I'm going to get some Bridges, right? He has been shooting terrible, but this is a spot he's going to get his shots up. He's averaging 59 fantasy points in 2 outings against Atlanta this season. So, I mean, we kind of overlooked Bridges when we initially, because the rest of the teams are so cheap, but Bridges in a phenomenal spot here.
Yeah.
I just want to say, don't sleep on Bridges. I think this is a great spot for him.
Don't sleep on Claxton either. I think this is a great spot for him. It's only 6,400 for Claxton. That's too cheap.
I mean, you're always worried about Sharp eating into the minutes, but Sharp early in the season, Sharp was playing 20, 25 minutes, and I don't know if they've extended him past 20 minutes since he's come back from injury. So I'm not as concerned about Sharp as I was earlier this year when you're oh my gosh, Sharp's playing 25 minutes and Claxton's playing 20. What's happening? So, I like the Claxton call. Brooklyn's just in a good spot. I mean, Brooklyn's a team you can have 1 to 3 of these guys, and I
was going to say now I'm thinking min 2. You know, they're so
They're
cheap.
they're still the Nets, all right? They're still
I
Nets.
know.
All right, Golden State at New York facing the Knicks, 223 total. Golden State a 3.5-point favorite. Wiggins out for Golden State. OG Randall Mitrov out. Brunson questionable for the Knicks. Let's start here with Golden State. Wiggins being out definitely matters a little bit here. You know, this is a guy that has been playing really solid minutes. We saw Chris Paul come back the other night, and we were curious what his role was going to be. Well, he played 22 minutes. You know, Wiggins was out, and it was kind of like a seamless transition. You know, Moody started, but didn't end up playing a ton of minutes. Like, Podsy stayed in the starting lineup, and we just saw like an overall good game. Chris Paul had a very good second quarter. What are your thoughts here on the Warriors?
Yeah, I was kind of tilted that Moody got there. Like, I didn't play him, and he still got there, and he's pretty popular. And he didn't play a lot of minutes. I assume he starts again, right? Moody.
I would think he starts again. I don't think they want Chris Paul. They didn't want starting at the beginning of the season,
right? So I mean, it's gonna be like Thompson and Paul, Moody, like all of them playing like 23 to 27 minutes. I like Draymond in the spot at 6,200. He's my favorite Warrior. But this isn't my favorite game, you know. And I mean, you know, Curry always has a ceiling under 10K. Sure, you can play him, but this is not my favorite game or team.
Yeah, I mean, for me, Curry, like, he's your ceiling play from this team each and every game. He really hasn't shown a huge ceiling. We have people to pay up for on this slate that I like more than Steph, you know, so I get it. And like Draymond, I hate playing this guy too. And the Warriors have quickly become that team for me that I just don't love to play. I mean, yeah. I do like Clay coming off the bench, and I think that his upside is higher off the bench. So Clay is probably my favorite. My Let's Get Weird GPP play from this team. So we'll talk about that in the morning grind game, and we're going to move on to the Knicks. Obviously, Brunson matters a ton. We'll see what happens with Brunson. If he's out, this is a fantastic spot for DiVincenzo. If Brunson's in, I want to still play Josh Hart. You know, we keep talking about Josh Hart, and like the dude just keeps playing 40 minutes a night, and he's on the floor so much, and like as much as we talk about it all the time, like minutes equal opportunity in the NBA. Josh Hart has fully taken advantage of his minutes. He's scoring, he's getting assists, he's rebounding, he's been active defensively. I think Josh Hart is a phenomenal play at 7,100. And like, this is a guy that we were paying low sixes for at the beginning of last week. So it's like a tough ask, but I still think like the role for him right now is just too good to pass on.
Oh yeah. If Brunson sits, I'm probably 100% playing Hart. What do you do with McBride, Stevie, at 5K? Is that too much for this matchup?
He played 40 minutes without Brunson the other night. I don't think the price is enough. Like 40 minutes in the NBA with double-digit shot attempts, it's really hard not to have interest in him, right? Right.
So, I mean, I think that 5K for McBride, point guard, shooting guard, is a strong play. I think Alec Burks at 4,500. He only got, I think, 16 minutes last game, but if he got over 20, he would be a really, really, really strong play at 45. So yeah, I mean, I like McBride if Hart sits. I love Hart if Brunson sits. I also kind of like the under 31.5 points for Brunson.
That if he plays
out right now.
Yeah. Oh, so if he does play. Yeah. I hate like that
prop.
I hate that like Josh Hart props aren't out because that's I really want Josh Hart props, you know. So like him a lot. Just for all you in YouTube chat, I really like him. Like him a lot. Yeah, Brunson matters a ton on this slate because it does open up McBride potentially. I don't think I want to play like Burks. I know he had some ownership the other day. I'm out kind of on Hartenstein right now. Like Precious and Hart have like eaten into him too much for me to want to play Hartenstein right now. overall, I think that if Brunson sits, DiVincenzo, Hart, McBride, if Brunson plays, it's probably just Josh Hart for me. But I like the Knicks here, depending on who's in and out. I like it.
You know who I like? You know
Who do
I
you like? Who do you like?
I like Bojan.
You gotta like it.
I like Bojan if Brunson sits. He seems to be the forgotten Nick.
His price is like he's not gonna pop in optimals, right? Like
right.
He just oh man. All right. Sorry. I'm having fun with YouTube chat. All right. I'll try to stop having fun with YouTube chat. But Bogdanovich, like his price has kind of tilted. I think for what it's worth, I think if Brunson's out, Bogdanovich has a higher upside. But if Brunson plays, I think Bogdanovich's price needs to be like $5K before I get on him. And he's not going to pop in optimals. I was doing tags and stuff yesterday for premium, and the lineup HQ projections did not like Bogdanovich yesterday.
No,
they changed a little bit throughout the day, but yeah. All right, we got Thunder at San Antonio, 237.5 total here. Thunder 11.5 point favorite. They're good to go on their injury report, and just Bassey over there on the Spurs side. What do we like here for the Thunder today?
I mean, it's pretty easy, right? It's SGA, it's Holmgren, it's Jalen Williams, those three. This is the game that I have massive concern about for blowout. But SGA is a top play on the entire slate, obviously. I mean, his floor is really, really strong. So be pretty hard to get away from him. But I also, Chet's very strong at 79. None of the value pieces I like very much.
Yeah, SGA, I think, is a top-end option on the slate.
Yeah.
Like, it's a smaller slate at 6 games, and SGA at 10-7 has like 60 to 70 point upside in this matchup. So I think it's a great spot for him. Holmgren, I think he's another guy you could play here. Just like,
oh yeah,
both of these guys, I think, are top end options on this slate. And then like, I don't want nothing else to do with the Thunder. Right. Like the situation with like Hayward in there now, and like he's eating into minutes of people.
Yeah.
If I was going to take anybody else, it'd be Jalen Williams. It would just come down to ownership if I want to touch that or not. But like Giddey's minutes have seen a huge drop with Hayward, and like Giddey's producing still, and he's been shooting a lot better recently. He's 5,400. I think we're going to find better options of value on the slate. And on the Spurs side, I don't know how this slate's going to go, but like looking at this slate the night before, I'm like, man, it'd be great to play Wemby and SGA together.
Mm-hmm.
What are your thoughts when it comes to San Antonio?
I mean, obviously Wemby's always a strong play. 10-1. I mean, he's got massive upside. I'm worried he's not going to get his full run, to be honest with you. I know he can crush in 29 minutes, but I don't know. I don't like this game. I don't like the Spurs in this spot. I think they get crushed. No way I'm playing Vassell or Sohan or Jones. So I'm not doing any of the cheap guys. So yeah, I mean, it'd be Wemby or nobody else.
Wemby is just a guy that is phenomenal, and his upside and his ceiling is all depending on minutes. And I like the fact that he played 34 minutes the other night. It's such a huge increase in like ceiling when he's playing 30 plus minutes. And we've seen like his 30 plus minute ceiling is like 70 plus. Thunder is a tough matchup. Don't get me wrong.
It's such a tough matchup.
But his usage and production is just so much higher than like everybody else on his team that it's like San Antonio last year was a team that we absolutely hated to play. Like, it's just a team that we never wanted to play San Antonio. And now we've gotten to the point where like it's Wemby or nobody from this team.
Right. Oh yeah, there's absolutely nobody else. I think honestly, I would X out everybody else.
I'm
I
out.
mean, really, I don't know. I don't know who else I'd draw roster. You know, so.
All right, we finish out the slate with Houston at Phoenix, 232.5 total here. Phoenix is an 8.5 point favorite. Adams and Eason out for Houston. Beal and Gordon questionable for Phoenix, and Lee is still out. Let's go to Houston here first. What do you like here for the Rockets?
If it's anybody, it's FEV at 6,600 playing over 35 minutes, right? Şengün is always interesting, but I prefer FEV. Don't love Green, but you could play him. But really, FEV's price is so good that it's pretty hard to get away from that.
Yeah, I mean, Van Vliet's price is good for sure, and the minutes have been fantastic. His upside, it's kind of limited lately. Like, so many people are playing so well for Houston that, like, Jabari Smith's ceiling is massive right now. He's been playing so good that it's hard not to have interest in him. And like Şengün, he finally showed up the other, like, back-to-back nights now with like some double doubles and tough matchups. But the Thunder is such a good like rebounding spot that I'm so concerned like good rebounding spots are like outweighing like how much his rebounds have dropped recently. Thompson kind of moving back to a bench role has helped Şengün a little bit, but overall, like Jabari Smith has been absolutely crushing here recently. So Jabari Smith is by far my favorite play from Houston in this spot. But I like the Van Vliet call too.
I just think that FEV hasn't been shooting well. So if he shoots okay, he's going to crush. He's been shooting really bad lately.
Yeah.
So
yeah. I mean, he had a 43% shooting night and scored 20 actual points, and still only put up 30. I need him to shoot well and add in some stocks and assists. Like the assist rate needs to come back up. Like this is a guy averaging 8 assists a night, and he hasn't had 8 assists in a game since January 29th against the Lakers.
Yeah, no, you're right. It's true. It's just so many minutes, Yeah.
Let's go to the Phoenix side here. What do we like for the Suns?
I don't really like that many players. I guess Booker seems a little bit cheap at 92. You can always play Durant 97. Is Nurkic probable or questionable? He's probable. Okay.
He's expected to play.
Yeah. I guess it's Booker, and that's really about it. This game isn't fantastic. I think Royce O'Neal maybe as a value piece, but hopefully we get better value to open up.
Yeah, value I think in this game is definitely depending on like does Beal and Gordon play?
Right. I mean, Beal is huge because if Beal plays, I kind of have interest in him.
Yeah, the price is kind of right at 6,700. I definitely don't disagree with that. But my biggest concern with like Beal is like hamstring. Do we expect him to like come back and play like his normal minutes? Is my biggest concern here for him. And like we've seen him in the past, like miss time and then come back and play 30 minutes. Like Phoenix typically doesn't play their guys until they're like ready to play. So it could easily be that situation where he comes back and plays 30 minutes and you're not too concerned at 6,700. Houston's defense has been struggling a little bit more recently. They're a team like for most of the part of the season, they were top 5. They've dropped down to like 8th. They're still a good defense. And then like if Beal sits and Gordon sits,
what about Royce O'Neal if those guys sit?
Oh,
huge minutes he's going to play.
Yeah, gosh.
I know. I hate him
against the Lakers the other night.
I hate him too.
He had 6 threes against the Lakers the other night.
I know. I can't stand that.
I think Beal and Gordon would both have to be out for me to play O'Neal. And it's just you're playing him more based on like him getting the minutes. I like Allen way more. I think I like much rather play like Grayson Allen.
Right.
Gosh, clicking Royce O'Neal's name. It never like feels good in your stomach, right? Like all the people that are listening to this podcast right now, like running on the treadmill, they're like they just got a little sick to their stomach. Like, Royce O'Neal. Oh, all right. Let's play the morning grind game, and then we'll get out of here. we're having the YouTube chat. It's lost me today. I can't take feedback, Tim. All right,
I know you can't.
Favorite play under 5K to go 7x.
Favorite play under 5K to go 7x. I'm gonna go Cameron Johnson.
Yeah, I like the Cam Johnson call. Obviously, Dennis Smith Jr. I think is someone that could potentially play more minutes if this game stays close. I'm going to go a little off the beaten path here and go Malik Beasley. I know you guys are probably sick of me talking and like touting him, and it hasn't worked out a ton. I really like the role that he has with Milwaukee, with Middleton out. I got something in my eye. I think overall Malik Beasley just has upside to play like 30 plus minutes a night and get 10 plus shots. And he's someone, when he's getting hot, he'll keep shooting threes. And Charlotte's still not a great like 3-point defending team. So I like Malik Beasley as my under 5K to go 7x here. Over 8K to go under 5x. Who is your bust today?
DeJounte Murray.
You don't like him, huh?
I don't like him.
Yeah, I mean, I like DeJounte. I just don't like the price tag for him. The price tag is up there.
It's too expensive.
I'm leaning Kevin Durant, and it's more of like, I know Durant can go for like 60 in any matchups when he's shooting well. It's more of like, I just don't see myself playing KD over like Wemby and SGA on this slate.
Well, that's what my argument about Murray is too.
I find that money, Tim. I find the money. I want SGA. I think SGA is the top play on the slate today. Favorite 6x play today.
Favorite 6x. I almost want to say SGA, but I'm not going to. I'll go Josh Hart.
I like that. I like Josh Hart's been playing really good basketball. I like that a lot. I'm going to go to Jabari Smith Jr. for Houston. This guy has just been absolutely crushing lately. And it's more of just Thompson moving back to the bench has just opened up all the rebounds for Jabari Smith Jr. So really like this spot for him. And I think he keeps crushing here in this matchup against Phoenix. Let's get weird GPP play of the day. Who do you got?
I had one. Where did he go? Oh, Bojan.
Oh, he's like,
if Brunson's out,
yeah. I mean, I don't mind that at all. My Let's Get Weird GPP play today is from the Golden State Warriors. Like I said when we were breaking down that game, and it's Gary Payton, and this is very off the board. Very off the board. I know it. They love this guy on defense. He's a guy that can get you like 5+ stocks, and if he's scoring like he was the other night. Chris Paul was hitting Gary Payton. Gary Payton was getting open shots. He was hitting them. It was fantastic to watch. But Gary Payton at 3,300 is a guy that has already showed us in 18 minutes he can go for 20+ fantasy points. So no Wiggins. Gary Payton's defense. Like, let's get Gary Payton a couple extra minutes here. So I think Gary Payton is an excellent tournament. Nobody's going to play him type play for large field stuff. And that's always what I kind of go for here in this game is I try to find that like 3% own that nobody's playing and like hit it once out of like every 7 days. Let's call it once every 5 days because we're Monday through Friday. But yeah, I like Gary Payton as my Let's Get Weird GPP play today. Let's go to the betting portion of the show. Any player props or pick 'em plays that you like here?
So I did bet the Jalen Brunson under 31.5 points, and I bet the over 23.5 Lillard points, both on DK.
I like it. I think the squad pick hit. I was just refreshing my app here and it has more money. Like, isn't that great when you're like refreshing to make sure the line hasn't changed and you have more money in your account than you did
And it's pretty
10
awesome.
minutes ago? It's always great. My player prop that I like today is Jabari Smith Jr. over 24.5 points and rebounds. He's been absolutely crushing this number with Van Vliet back and Thompson back to the bench. This guy has hit this number in 3 straight games, and the minutes are phenomenal. The matchup's okay. Really like this number, and I think it's too low. I think we're going to project him for around 27-ish, and I think that we get this at 24.5 here night before, and we see what happens. But, yeah, I like Jabari Smith over 24.5. There were no lines that were jumping out to me here. Is there anything that you liked on the lines part?
Nothing really that stuck out.
I will say, like, Orlando -5 against Utah is somewhat juicy at home. Orlando is just such a good defensive team, but I'd probably wait to see if Banchero's playing. Like, if you get news that Banchero's at shoot around and this line's still -5, I think I'd bet Orlando -5 in that scenario.
I think if I had to pick a total, I'd take the under 223 in the Golden State New York game.
Steph in Madison Square Garden, man. You better watch out. So,
yeah, we'll see.
All right, we're going to get out of here. Hope everyone has a fantastic Thursday. Make sure you hit the like button over there on YouTube. If you haven't already, subscribed to the RotoGrinders Morning Grind page over there. We're getting close to 1,000 subscribers. Appreciate everyone. That'll wrap it up. Hope you have a great day, and we'll be back tomorrow talking hoops. Good luck, everyone. We'll see you then.